All right, so boys and girls, whether you're working on this in the morning or the afternoon, I want to go ahead and sing our frog metamorphosis song before we get started. Okay, so we have: deep in the water, frogs will spawn, laying eggs into the pond. Tadpoles hatch and breathe through gills. Growing legs show swimming skills. Hop, 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 it never stops. Hop, 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 it never stops. Tadpole to frog life cycle bliss. That's what we call metamorphosis. Did you get it? Did you sing all the words? So that's the life cycle of a frog. But today we're going to talk about the difference between frogs and toads. Frogs and toads look a lot alike. Here's a frog. Here's a toad. And we're reading Frog and Toad in our storybook. We started it this week. We're going to read more of our Frog and Toad series next week. But frogs and toads are not the same. They have some things that are the same. That will go in both. This is called a Venn diagram, where we compare how they're the same and we contrast how they're different. They're the same in some ways, but they're different in other ways. But we don't know which ways yet, so we're going to learn that now. So, frogs and toads, let me slide this down, make sure you can see it. Frogs need to live near water. Frogs have smooth, moist skin, and they have a narrow body. Higher, rounder, bulgier eyes. Bulgier, it means they stick out. Bulgier, say bulgy, bulgy, they stick out. Longer hind legs. They jump higher. They have many predators. Lots of animals want to eat frogs. And they have upper teeth. I didn't know frogs had upper teeth. Did you? And toads, this is how they're different. Toads can live away from water. Well, we just learned that frogs need to live near water, but toads, they can live away from water. They have rough, dry, bumpy skin. So frogs have smooth, moist skin, and toads have rough, dry, bumpy skin. Toads have a wide body, a wider body than a frog. Frogs have narrow bodies. Toads have lower oval-shaped eyes. Frogs have higher, rounder, bulgier eyes. Toads have shorter, less powerful back legs, whereas frogs have longer hind legs. Toads hop instead of jump. So they hop. I guess they don't jump very far or very high. But frogs can because they have really long hind legs. Toads don't have many predators. They don't have many animals wanting to eat them. But frogs do. Frogs have many predators. And toads do not have any teeth. And frogs have upper teeth. Frogs and toads are the same because they both can see in almost all directions. So this is their similarity. So when we write in this chart, where did my little chart go? When we write in this chart, this is how they're the same. They're two different animals, but they do have similarities. So we're talking about that now. They can both see in almost all directions. They both have two eardrums to help them hear. They both have sticky tongues. They both have some frogs and toads. Oh, I should say this instead of they both. Some frogs and toads have poison glands in their skin. Both hibernate during the winter. Hibernate means they hide away to stay nice and warm, and then they sleep. And then they wake up in the spring. We talked about hibernation. Both are found all over the world except Antarctica. And we learned that yesterday. You labeled all the 6 continents up top, but left the 7th continent free of the frog because frogs do not live in Antarctica. They live in these 6 other continents, but not Antarctica. Do you know the continent song? I think we sing that in class several times. There is Asia, Africa, North and South America, Antarctica, Europe, and finally Australia. Asia, Africa, North and South America, Antarctica, Europe, and finally Australia. There's Asia, Africa, North and South America, Antarctica, Europe, and finally Australia. Those are the 7 continents. But the frogs don't live in Antarctica. They live in the other 6 continents. Okay, so let's talk about how they are the same. We just read how they're the same. Well, they can both see in all directions. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little dash. See in all directions. Directions. They can see in all directions. What else can they do that are the same? They both have sticky tongues, so I'm going to write sticky tongues. Sticky tongues. That's how they're the same. I'm only going to write 2. You're only going to write 2 in each category. 2 things frogs can do or have that toads do not. 2 things toads have or can do that frogs do not. And then you're going to write 2 things that are the same between frogs and toads. So we just did that. We did 2 of my ideas, but you can write 2 other ideas that stuck out to you that you enjoyed listening to. These are how they're the same. They can see in almost all directions. They both have 2 eardrums to help them hear. They have sticky tongues and they have poison glands in their skin. Some of them do, not all of them do. They all hibernate. Both frogs and toads hibernate during the winter, and they do not live in Antarctica. But now that we talked about how they're the same, this is how they're the same, this is how they're different. Okay, so something that stuck out to me for frogs is that they have smooth skin. But toads have bumpy skin. That's a good, when I look at a frog or a toad, that's a very easy way to identify if it is a frog or if it is a toad. The other thing that stuck out to me is that frogs have upper teeth. Frogs have upper teeth, but toads have no teeth. That's a very interesting fact. But you don't have to write the ones I wrote. You can write other facts. These are facts, not opinions. These are real scientific facts. Frogs, they need to live near water. They have smooth, moist skin, narrow bodies, high, round, or bulgier eyes, longer hind legs. They jump high. They have many animals wanting to eat them, and they have upper teeth. Toads can live away from water. They have rough, dry, bumpy skin, wider bodies, lower oval-shaped eyes, shorter, less powerful back legs. They don't jump, they hop, and they don't have many animals wanting to eat them, not as many predators, and they do not have teeth. So when you fill this sheet out today as an activity to practice the differences and the similarities between frogs and toads, you can choose your 2 facts for each category. Frogs, toads, and how they're the same. Okay? But then that's not all, boys and girls. You have another activity behind it. Okay. Since we're really studying frogs this week, I want you to take this out after you're all done. So you can pause the video here if you need time to do the other activity that we just discussed. So in this activity, you have bubbles. It says can, are, and have. And the title is frogs. So we're not talking about toads. We're only talking about frogs. So Miss Bonnie is not going to do this activity with you. I'm going to give you an example in each one, but I'm not going to do the whole thing with you because I want you to use your mind. What can frogs do? Frogs can, I'm going to write jump because they can jump. Frogs can live in water. Frogs can make tadpoles. Okay, so those are some things frogs can do. Frogs are amphibians. Frogs are amphibians. Frogs are smooth. Frogs are what? What are frogs? Keep going. Are they green? Can they be other colors too? They sure can. They can be other colors. They're not always green. Frogs have, what did we learn that frogs have? Frogs have sticky tongues. So I'm going to write one idea, but you're going to write your own ideas. I want you to write 2 ideas in each box or each bubble. Okay? I only wrote 1 because I don't want to give them away. I want you to go back and listen to the video if you can't remember some. Don't ask your parents. I want you to use your knowledge from frogs this week on what frogs can do, what frogs are, and what frogs have. 2 ideas in each bubble. Okay, boys and girls, have some fun.